guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Kathleen, and today's video I wanted to share with you guys some of my least favorite and some of my favorite books that I read in the year of 2016. I cannot believe that the year is over already, but you know what? I have a lot of high hopes for 2017 and I cannot wait to start fresh with a clean slate and see how the year goes. So let's go ahead and get started first with my least favorite books that I read this year. So the first book that I read this year that I did not like very much is Independent Study by Joelle Charbonneau. This is the second book in the Testing trilogy, and I did a whole review on this series. If you would like to check it out, I'll leave it links down below. But basically, the second book in the Testing trilogy just suffered so much from second book slump. It was such a useless book in my eyes. There was no new information provided. It was so boring. The main character just wasn't relatable anymore. She came across as very Mary Sue, someone who's very perfect and intelligent, and there's just no flaws with this character. I did give it a 2-star out of 5. Definitely one of those books that I just wish didn't exist because it honestly did not contribute to the main plot of the story of it. And then the second book that I read this year that made it into my least favorite books of 2016 is Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. I actually did not hate this book. I just found it really boring, and I did not connect with the main character at all. I was really excited for this book, and I had a lot of high expectations because a lot of people love this book and I heard a lot of great things, but then when I read it I was just really disappointed. I loved the message of the story. I just really didn't like it. Alright, and then the third book that I read this year that made on my least favorite books of 2016 is Queen of Shadows by Sarah J. Maas. I originally gave this book 3 stars, and then after digesting the book and just thinking about it a lot, a few weeks ago I did change it down to 2 stars. I just had a lot of problems with this book, especially with the characterization and the relationships in the story. Selena / Aelin just became someone that I don't connect with anymore. I find her very arrogant. The only reason I'm still keeping up with the series is because of the side characters are so amazing. Alright, and then the last 2 books that made it into my list of my top 5 least favorite books of 2016 is Royal Blue and True Blue Forever, both books by Joyce Scarborough. This is book 2 and book 3 in the True Blue trilogy, and I received these books as part of a vlog tour for free in exchange for an honest review, and I did a whole review on this entire trilogy. It is linked down below if you would like to check it out. But basically, this is a coming of age story following 4 characters: Jenna, Billy Joe, Wade, and Mickey. And what I did not like about these books was the relationship that Jenna had with one of the boys. She started a romantic relationship with one of the boys, and I did not support the relationship at all. It was very abusive. The romantic interest, he was very controlling and possessive of Jenna, and the author tried to romanticize that, and I did not like it at all. She tried to make it cute and tried to make it seem like he was just being, protective of her, but that's not how it came out. There's a difference between being protective and being controlling and possessive, and that is the huge reason why I rated this particular book 2 stars. I originally rated it 2.5, but then I bumped it down, and then I originally had rated this book 3.5 stars, but I bumped it down to 3. Alright, so now for the 5 books that made it into my favorite books of 2016, and some of these books actually made it into my favorite books of all time. They were just so excellent, and they blew me away, and I did end up ordering them from my least favorite to all the way to my most favorite of 2016. So coming in at number 5 is Heartless by Marissa Meyer. She is the author of the Lunar Chronicles, which I'd never read, by the way, even though I do have the books. So this was my first Marissa Meyer, and this is the origin retelling story of the Queen of Hearts, and the Queen of Hearts is the antagonist from Alice's Adventure in Wonderland, and this basically tells the story of how she became the evil Queen of Hearts that we know today. And this book was so good, and it just literally breaks your heart because you know the final destination, you know where it's going, but but you kind of just watching this story unfold, I just connected with her and I just loved her to pieces, and I didn't want her to end up the evil queen that she was going to be. I did give this book 4.5 stars. The reason why I docked a half a star is because the beginning for me was a little bit slow. It took me about 100 pages to really get into the story, but it was beautiful nonetheless, and I would highly recommend this book to everybody. My next favorite book for the year of 2016, coming in at number 4, is The Snow Like Ashes by Sarah Rosh. This follows a fantasy world that is divided into 8 kingdoms, and there is the season kingdom. So you have spring kingdom, you have the autumn kingdom, you have summer kingdom, and you have winter kingdom. And the spring kingdom attacks winter, and the winter kingdom is destroyed and its people scattered, and some of them are taken slaves. We follow the story of Mayra, who is one of the people who managed to escape. It's just such a beautiful series. It was so action-packed. I had a lot of fun reading it. I really enjoyed the magic system of the story, and I really liked the character of Mayra because I connected with her so much. She was someone who wanted to do more for her kingdom in order to bring back the winter kingdom. However, general of the army, he kind of tells her to back off. He doesn't need her help, and it kind of like, I understand her frustration with wanting to help but having people stop you and not allow you to do your part. I really loved the story. Everything about the story was really good. The entire trilogy just blew me away. It was just so amazing in the third book. Alright, and then coming in at number 3 of my favorite book in 2016, I had a really hard time deciding whether this book was going to be on my number 3 slot or on my number 2 slot, but in the end I decided to go ahead and put it down on number 3, and it is A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. This is the second book in the ACOTAR series, and the third book will be out in May, and I cannot wait. This book was so good. We see the main character of Feyre finally gathers her strength, and she really becomes a strong female character. In the first book, sometimes she really pissed me off because she was so dumb and she just allowed others to make decisions for her, and it just pissed me off. But in this book, we see her really come into herself and become confident, and I really enjoyed the growth that I saw her in this book. And of course, Rhysand, it was amazing. You cannot forget about Rhysand because he's awesome. I gave it 5 stars. If I could give it 100 stars, I would. And then coming in at number 2 is, of course, a book that I talked a lot about on my channel. You guys will not be surprised to see this on my top 5 favorite books of 2016, and it is The Kiss of Deception by Mary E. Pearson. I read this book towards the beginning of this year, and I fell in love. So we follow this princess named Leah, and she is betrothed to this prince that she has never met before in her life, and she decides that she does not want to marry someone she has never met before, so she runs away, which is pretty freaking awesome. I totally admire her for that, because trust me, if it was me, because I'm such a people pleaser, if it was me, I would go through with the wedding, even though every fiber of my being does not want to marry this guy that I never met in my life. But I admire her for running away, and because she runs away, the jilted prince, the prince that she leaves at the altar, he goes after her. However, an enemy kingdom also finds out that the princess ran away, so they send an assassin after her in order to kill her. Really enjoyed this book. I loved all 3 books in this series. It is by far one of my favorite fantasy series ever, and I would highly recommend it to everyone. Alright, and then coming in at number 1, my favorite book that I read this year. This book actually made its way into one of my favorite books of all time. It is right up there on my list with The Book Thief, which you guys know is my favorite book of all time. This book just blew me away. I loved it, and it was actually a book that took me by surprise because I originally was not intending to read this book, and it is Illuminae by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. This book was just perfection. I loved the way that it told the story, which is through conversations, IM chats, emails, and surveillance footage. I really just enjoyed. This book took me on a roller coaster ride, and my heart nearly died and like exploded from this book. This is a sci-fi story set in outer space. There is this computer intelligence, artificial intelligence. His name is Aiden, and he is awesome and I love him, and I just wish he was just like, oh my gosh, like he is the reason why I love this book so much, because I really connected with Aiden. Even though he's a computer, he's not really human, but I really connected with him. But this book, definitely the best book that I've read this year. And alright guys, so those are all of the books that are my least favorite that I read this year, or my favorite that I read this year. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know down in the comments below some books that you read this year that you really enjoyed. Maybe I haven't read some of those books and I'll add it to my TBR for 2017. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a like if you did, and subscribe to my channel if you're not already. All of my social medias are linked down below, including Twitter, Instagram, and Goodreads. I hope to see you guys on my next video. Have a good day guys, and keep reading. Bye!